Positive Vibe Show from Project Positive Change. We're doing a series here on people pleasers. This is segment number 3 and possibly the last one. We'll kind of see. We're all sort of creative geniuses here, and things kind of flow the way they flow. I'm here with visionaries Caroline Palmy and Allison Sarah Reiner of Project Positive Change. One thing I would like to say is that the Positive Vibe Show, the whole idea behind it is to really showcase the talent and the amazing skills of the different visionaries of Project Positive Change, so that you'll think you'll have to contact us or maybe become part of us. That's kind of what the show is all about. So this show is on people pleasers. This third segment, we're really going to be talking about rediscovering yourself and probably, how to be of service without really kind of losing yourself. So how have y'all gone through that? We kind of touched on it before, but really that idea of, rediscovering ourselves, really stepping back into our power. I think even letting go of that sort of tribal agreement, whether the tribe is your family or society or whatever. And so there's almost like there's no script. And I think maybe that's part of why we are people pleasers, because it's very easy to follow that script because you just kind of like follow what everybody else wants to do, right? Or follow what society. But how do you create that new sort of, screenplay for yourself? Does that make sense?
Yes. Perfect.
What are y'all thoughts on that?
For me, because I woke up after my marriage broke apart, and I had no idea what music did I like, or what furniture or whatever. And so I went back before I met my then husband. I thought, so what kind of music did I listen before I met that man? And reconnected to my puberty stage, and with everything. And then rediscovered, zoomed back over the 20 years I sort of missed in my life, and integrated that. I got some Monet pictures in my room because I loved them, and I remembered I loved that back then. Listen to the music I loved back then more and more, just to sort of reconnect with who I was, with the essence I was. I allowed myself to say no for the first time and realized, the world isn't falling apart. It goes on, the person was okay, and I was like, okay, she still likes me, and we are still friends, and I think it's just one step at a time, one step, and then going within, maybe putting the hands on your heart and saying, what would I love now? Or how can I serve Caroline now? And just sit with it for a little bit and see what comes up. And don't give up too easily. Reapply, and just go with what feels right for yourself. And trust that. Take the next step. Take the next step.
Oh, I love that. What I took from that was small decisions and rediscovering and reconnecting, and that it's a journey. Oh, that's amazing. What about you, Allison? What have you got to?
Pretty similar. For me, when I realized, people pleasing was part of a whole bigger discovery for me. And it was that I didn't actually, well, as I touched on before, I didn't have a great deal of self-esteem. I didn't know who I was apart from anything else. Therefore, I found it very difficult. Every time I made a mistake, every time I did something wrong, in my eyes, not necessarily in anyone else's eyes, but, there was a lot of perfectionism going on there. So whenever I felt that I'd done something wrong, I was beating myself up. So for me, it was all about that self-love. But I couldn't, it's one of those things that, when I say it to you, you know exactly what I mean. But when we talk to people out there, they don't necessarily know what it means. And for me, it was getting to know myself deeply, getting to accept myself. So that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Really working on my sense of self-esteem, self-worth, believing that I deserved to be happy, to be able to say no, to be able to say yes to myself, and also for me, one of the biggest things was to be able to do something different, to show my children a different way. And when I put all of those together, that created that sense of self-love, if you like, where I could put myself before anyone else. Some people call it selfish, but for me, it's self-love, because if I love myself, I show you how to love me. And the only way that you're ever going to love me more, as I want you to, is by showing you how much you can. And you can only love me as much as I love myself. So, you know, for me, it was really, it started off, and every single day it's working on that sense of self and self, you know, self everything.
Yeah, it's almost like you bring up the idea, Allison, that when you are this people pleaser, you kind of sort of like this, just this shell of taking care of everybody else. People never discover you, right? You're
People never,
robbing people of that.
yeah. And there's, you know, one of the biggest balances that we have to get in life if we want to have proper, real, loving, connected relationships. And I'm not just talking romantic relationships, but, you know, work relationships, kid relationships, any relationship, is we need to let people in. We need to be able to receive from them to the same extent as we're willing to give to them, or else the relationship is always going to be out of balance. And what happens then is you push people away, or you sabotage relationships because they can't get close, they can't give you any more than you're willing to accept. Or on the other side, you attract people who don't want anything other than to take. And then you find yourself in narcissistic relationships, or, you know, or difficult emotional or physically abusive relationships, because you can't let in real love. So yeah, it's exactly that. When you're people pleasing, you're not being true to yourself, and you're not allowing the good people in.
And plus, it would have to be very draining for somebody that's not narcissistic to be around someone that's always trying to constantly please them and not getting any input back, right?
Yeah, I can call my husband's next door. I can call him through. He'll give you a whole chapter and verse on that. Yeah, it is pretty exhausting to be around us when we're in full flow.
Yeah. So how do we become this amalgamation of, you know, serving others, being of service, and yet being of service to ourselves as well? How do we do that? You know what I mean? How do we integrate these two?
I think, you know, one of the things that you always hear is you can't pour from an empty cup. And somehow it's getting the information from our minds, because, you know, we're all sitting here, and anyone that's watching or listening to this later on will be nodding furiously like that. Yes, it's absolutely true. We cannot, we can't pour from an empty cup. But how to get it from here to your heart is the big thing. And the only way, for me anyway, you know, Caroline will have a different approach, or maybe not, but for me, it's all about that self-love. It's got to start and finish with you. And once you can give yourself that, you can give everybody so much more. You know, you can't give what you don't have. But it's really being able to integrate that into your body. So it's not just a mental thought, it's actually something that you feel and you believe in your body.
I love that. So it's almost like to be of highest service is to be of service to yourself first,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And then people get the best from you. Of course they do. When you're at your best, you can only give your best.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. And there's that yogic saying, you know, you as you do one thing, you do all things. So as you treat yourself, and I often, you know, teach my clients that, you know, you train the world how to see you, right? I mean, if you're getting some sort of reaction, being treated a certain way, you actually created that space. I think Eleanor Roosevelt said that, you know, you can't be, I don't know how she put it, but you give the permission to be abused. You know what I mean?
No one can make you angry, hurt, or whatever without your permission. Yeah.
Right. All righty. Well, sounds like we have just about right. Caroline, do you have any final thoughts on this idea?
It's just about self-care and self-love, and taking time out, allowing yourself time out, maybe sit in nature, just be with yourself. Sometimes that's where we truly find ourselves, and breathing it in, taking the space and the time it needs to just come back into your heart and yourself.
I love it. Well, this has been the Positive Vibe Show from Project Positive Change with my visionary friends here, Caroline Palmy, Allison Sarah Reiner. Like I say, the Positive Vibe Show is here to really showcase the talent that we have here in Project Positive Change. We invite all of you to contact either Allison or Caroline or myself individually, or Project Positive Change. If you would love to be a part of us, we would love to invite you in. We're here for transformation of the world. We have these big visions and these big dreams, and nobody's going to change that. We're really kind of busting loose and ready to go with this. So this has been on People Pleasers. We really appreciate you guys. There's been 3 segments. I invite you to watch all 3 segments. And we'll see y'all later.